What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake NBA DFS Early Look. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013, and I, of course, am from the WiseTake Nation, which you can find on all the social media platforms listed above. We are a premium DFS content provider as well as a DFS community designed to help make you a better DFS player. If you're new to the channel, welcome. You came to the right place. Please subscribe, hit the notifications bell so you are notified whenever we do go live and don't miss out on any of the DFS content we do. We specialize in the NBA, MLB, and NFL, but we also do shows for PGA, esports, whoever knows these days. Anything that comes up, if we have a way to provide content where we feel we can give you an edge, we're going to give it a shot. And if it's on this YouTube channel, it's going to be free. So appreciate those of you who are here. Please subscribe if you are new. Welcome. And everyone, you included, new people, not new people, returning people, hit that like button. The likes go a long way. The likes really help us out, allow us to continue to drop dirties on YouTube and drop sevens and everything we need to do. So if you could hit that like button, it really goes a long way, really helps us out and allows us to continue to do the free content. We got an early show. We have a quick show, I should say. Going to be relatively quick. We only got 3 games to cover. Small slate for a Monday, which is kind of weird after having a couple days off on the content side. Well, not off, but at least no streaming. It was weird to come back to a 3-game slate on a Monday. Just a weird way to start the week, but it is what it is. 3-game slates are what they are, right? Raw points matter a little bit more. Finding if one of these games goes to overtime, finding the right one is going to be the key. And they're all similar, like they're all fairly similar. The totals are not that far off from each other. The spreads are not that far off from each other. So it's kind of interesting. We know that in the late game, if you want to call it that. Well, it's not really the late game. We have one game starting at 7:30, then we have 2 starting at 9. But in the Milwaukee-Denver game, we know Giannis is expected to be out. Yesterday, we saw on a Sunday slate, we saw Bledsoe and Middleton like 70-something% on an 8-game slate. You can imagine what their ownership is going to look like on a 3-game slate. So a lot to discuss, a lot to get to, and we'll make the best of it. Our flagship show, the NBA Wise Stream, our final look, will be a little later than usual. Obviously, the 7:30 lock and the 3-game slate. We're going to start the game by game at about 6. It'll probably take me around 30 minutes. Then we'll switch on, bring Paulie D, and talk some game theory and all that, because there's going to be a lot of dead time, man. It's only 3 games to discuss, and I don't think there's going to be like a ton of news that we're waiting for. We just got news on Atlanta already, which was a big part of the injury news we were waiting for. I found out pretty much everyone but Bembry is fine and off the injury report. So anyway, we'll do what we do, get to it. I know there's only a few games, so we'll see how many people end up joining us live here. If you have any questions or you have any comments, pop them in the YouTube chat, and I'll be up in there, doing dirties and dropping sevens with you. I like to hang out with y'all. But anyway, let's get into the games. My dog just ripped ass. Holy shit, that's bad. Wow. I almost passed out for a second there. It just caught me off guard. All right, first up, we've got the Charlotte Hornets visiting the Atlanta Hawks. I'm just going to pull up J. Irv's schedule notes article just to go over it while we have it. And he did it, J. Irv, man. Mr. Reliable, always. Anyway, we've got a 223.5 total, down from 225. Atlanta opened up -4. They're still at -4. Charlotte's had a day off. Atlanta's had a day off. It's a 3-4 for Atlanta. Trae Young, we know, is dealing with an illness. Missed one of those games. Played horribly in the second. Memphis beat the shit out of him twice. So there goes that. Starting with the Charlotte side, Devontae Graham has looked like he's been trending in the right direction. Terry Rozier has been playing a lot more minutes than Graham, but Graham does appear to be trending in the right direction, and his price is appeasing on both sides. For Rozier on FanDuel, I could definitely get there at 5.966 on DraftKings, a little but you got to remember Charlotte is going to be paced up pretty drastically. Going up against this really fast-paced Atlanta team that doesn't really play defense. Charlotte doesn't play defense either, but Charlotte does play really slow. So you would think the Charlotte side would be the one that we would want to focus in on a little bit more. Miles Bridges has massive upside. I don't mind taking shots on him on a 3-game slate, but his minutes have been down from the 36, 37, 38 he was playing prior with the extended usage. PJ Washington has gotten some good run. He's played well. He is not projecting as well as I would have hoped, but we may make some adjustments there. He obviously is going to play a lot of 5. And this seems like a really good situation for both teams to go small. I know they both prefer to be small. They could play PJ at the 5 against John Collins rather than play Martin against, Zeller against Dedmon. So that's what I kind of anticipate happening. I think it's going to be a really a strong guard situation. I think we're going to see a lot of guard-on-guard action. Both teams playing with like 3 guards or something like that. Well, depending if you want to consider whatever you consider the Cody Martins and all these dudes. But yeah, I like Graham. I like Rozier. I like PJ Washington. I think that's the build. I think that's the way that this team would prefer to play. And obviously, we'll have to wait and see if we get any news to change anything else. But everyone else kind of just tournament darts, and they don't project that well. But you'll see that no one really does. So it's not the end of the world. On the Atlanta side, like I said, I think I'm going to give more minutes to Cam Reddish. I could see this being very small, this game in general, and Dedmon only playing the 20 minutes we have him projected for. And I could see them playing Collins at the 5. What's his name? Hunter at the 4. Reddish or Herter at the 3 and 2, and then Trae Young at the 1. I think that's the predominant lineup I'd expect because that matches up really well with Charlotte, and I'm sure that's what they would want to do also. So maybe we'll give Reddish a raise in minutes. He's not projecting too well on a small slate. None of them are, and our projections are very pace oriented. So obviously it's a pace down spot, but we do need to adjust a little bit more for the matchup. Very, very poor defensive team in Charlotte. So we'll come back, take a look at Trae Young, check out his status. He's really cheap on FanDuel. John Collins got the all clear, but he's kind of overpriced, and that's another factor into this. It's not just the pace heavy projections. It's also the fact that the prices have now kind of come up on a lot of these players. Even Dedmon, who we were getting at 3-4, is like 4-1, 4-7 on FanDuel. So obviously it's fine. I think this game will be one of the more popular ones outside of the Milwaukee team, being that it is the first game going and it's two bad defenses and one team is extremely fast. So I'm into it. But if you're trying to get different, this may not be the way to do it. You can pick different players or just pick a couple spots. I do think the Charlotte side was a little bit more appealing to me. And of course, if Trae Young is feeling good, if he's feeling a little bit better, obviously we know he's got the massive ceiling. So he's always a go. But did y'all even see that right? Yeah, I guess y'all didn't even see that. I messed that up, huh? All right. Let's keep it rolling. Toronto Raptors visiting the Utah Jazz. Let's see what we got here. Earth is my planet. All right, we got a 224 total. Like I said, these totals are not that different. This one opened up at 225 and it's down to 224. Utah opened up -4 at home. They're up to -4.5. It's the back end of a back-to-back for Toronto. They're obviously on the road. They've been on the road. Utah's had a day off, but they're in a little 4-6 stretch. Utah's been terrible in these situations. It seems like whenever teams you would think have a schedule disadvantage, that's when they lose at home. It's that's just their thing, and that's cool. It's for them. I mean, if I was a fan of the Utah Jazz, I would be frustrated, but it's not my thing. Starting with the Toronto side, Ibaka played big minutes despite the fact that Gasol came back. He was just extremely limited, didn't play much, and I would anticipate either he doesn't play today or the same happens. So I'm interested in Ibaka in the mid-range. We've got Van Fleet out for now. He's technically questionable. If he plays, then we'll have to lower Norman Powell quite a bit. But if he's out, then it's hard not to be interested in Norman Powell right now. I would assume he would get pretty popular because he's just been on a tear. Maybe not on DraftKings at 6'8", but on FanDuel at 5'5", I think that it'd be really, really hard to ignore him. He's playing massive minutes. He's taking a ton of shots. He's playing well. Siakam and Lowry I'm interested in as low-owned options with upside. The prices have come down a little bit. Not the best spot, I understand, on a back-to-back in Utah, all this good shit, especially if Van Fleet does come back. But just for the sake of ownership, I just think that this game in general could have some of the lower-owned plays in it just because of I think people are already going to play Milwaukee a ton, which may in turn push them a little bit more towards Denver. And then I think after that, their priority is probably going to that first game, Atlanta and Charlotte, due to the reputation of both teams being poor defensively. So I think the Utah and Toronto game may go a little under the radar. So I'm trying to find ways to get into it. And like I said, I'm not turned off by the projections on DraftKings because nobody really projects well. You can see that Toronto as a team projects really well for us on FanDuel. It's DraftKings where their prices have been elevated and it's kind of tough to fit them in. But for the sake of ownership, we may want to dig here a little bit. Jesus Christ. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at for now. Let's keep things rolling. On the Utah side, Clarkson showing up as a decent value play, willing to take a shot on DraftKings at 4.2. On FanDuel at 4.5, seems like we'll probably find someone better. Mike Conley, I've got some interest in on DraftKings and FanDuel, even though he's projecting better on DraftKings due to the scoring or whatever. The minutes kind of conservative. He played 30 on a back end of a back-to-back, played 34 the night before that. So I do think we've got some room to elevate his minutes a little bit here. Donovan Mitchell is certainly worth a shot. His price is coming down. Bojan Bogdanovic was just balled against Detroit. His usage was massive. So I think with the Utah side, there are some guys we can consider. I don't hate the idea of Gobert. There's nothing that's super exciting here. But at the same time, like I said, if we're going to get some lower ownership, it may be worth digging. It may be worth taking a shot on because Toronto, when they're banged up, they have not been as good defensively. So we will take a look later on at the final look and kind of see where we're at with these guys then. Pop up in there. Like I said, it's going to be a quick one, guys. I'm already 2 out of the 3. Charles Walker, what up, man? What up, man? Good to see you. Juice. What's up, Juice? Weekend was good, man. Weekend was all right, man. Trying to quit smoking cigarettes. So I've been smoking cigarettes for a minute. Trying to quit that shit. You know what I mean? Trying to quit that shit. So sometimes get a little aggravated. You know, it's not good when you have a temper to do it. But, hey, there's never a good time to do it, right? So, you know, that's what I've been up to. Tried to quit yesterday. Ended up eating. I quit technically yesterday. Ended up, eating way too much food because I was smoking alternative substances in order to substitute my cigarette cravings. And ended up eating way too much food. My stomach is fucked up today. So that's how my weekend went. But, yeah, good to see y'all. Juice. Ooh, Patrick just hit his head. That's what he does. Juice, Charles, what up? Envious one was good, man. Jers, that's right. Very ugly 3-game slate. I agree. Very ugly 3-game slate. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Not going to get no prettier, but let's be real. We're playing. Come on. All right, we got Milwaukee visiting Denver. We got a 221.5 total. This is technically the lowest on the board. It's down from 223.5. Denver opened up -5.5. They're still -5.5. Milwaukee, we know, is on a back end of a back-to-back in the midst of a 4-6. Denver's had a day off. Little bit of a schedule mismatch, I'd say, for Denver. I'm surprised this line is only 5.5. I mean, Denver's been playing terribly. I understand why. Denver barely beat Charlotte. They just look like shit. They were on the road and not really sure why. So I get I guess I understand the closer spread, but from a schedule perspective, you got Milwaukee missing Giannis. They're in a 4-6. They're in a back-to-back in a 4-6, and now they're going into Denver to play in altitude after playing against the Suns last night. I don't know. It seems like a tough spot to me. It seems like a really tough spot. I mean, I would gladly bet on Denver, and that makes it interesting to talk about the Milwaukee side. Because Bledsoe projecting really well, Middleton projecting really well on both sides. So as of right now, we'd be set to get a ton of them, and that's going to be the chalk build. They were 70-something% last night on a 8-game slate. They're going to be massive on a 3-game slate. So maybe it's worth a little bit more to try to go underweight or something like that. It's a risk because even if they only get 25 minutes apiece because their team gets blown out, there's a good chance that they could still at least come close to hitting value, especially Bledsoe on DraftKings at 5.7. They at least raised Middleton to 7.6 over there, but even so, he's still within reach for the usage rate. He had like a 40% usage rate last night. So it's an interesting call. I think that, again, going underweight on them, if it works, it's going to be a phenomenal edge because I anticipate them being so freaking popular. But if it doesn't work, you're just done, right? Because 70-80%, maybe more of the field have them. And if they do well, you're just kind of screwed. The other approach is does one of them get there? Is it Bledsoe, but then you avoid Middleton a little more? It's tough to envision. Ilyasova is going to be extremely low owned because he only played 15 minutes last night despite starting. Didn't take a single shot. Marvin Williams clearly cut into his role, whatever was left of it. But I think that's the primary conversation that you have to decide right out the gate. Am I playing Bledsoe and Middleton or not? Or am I playing one of them? Or I mean, you could play them and just go underweight. I'm just saying. Or are you just if you're gonna play them and just say fuck it? No. I think if you like them, then play them. Play them 100%. Yesterday I played them 100% in 170 teams. Today's situation is a little bit different. Again, there's more on the line. I think there could be more value if they do bust. But at the same time, it's very, very hard to see Bledsoe not hitting value at 5.7. That's just ridiculous. And Denver's played like shit. So you guys think about it. We'll talk about it on the look later on, the final look. I'm gonna do some digging and see what I can find, and whatever I can find on a 3-game slate, and nothing else going on. So I'll be digging, and we'll come back and approach it. But that's gonna be the main decision you have to make. That's why we got the cover boy for today's shows And the first one was Bledsoe. The second one was Middleton. Because that's the decision you got to decide today. What are you doing with them? With that said, on the other side, I am interested in a few of these pieces. First of all, Jamal Murray. I think we all saw Ricky Rubio just destroy these guys last night. Destroy Milwaukee. Triple-double. I like the spot for Murray. I think that the price still leaves meat on the bone as far as his upside goes. So I'm interested especially on FanDuel at 6.6. That's a really good price. After that, I think Will Barton's kind of underpriced as well on FanDuel at 5,300. I'm good with him on DraftKings. I thought he looked really good in the last game. The minutes were elevated. So maybe he's starting to get going again. We know he's the type of player that with this price would just be considered too cheap normally. And again, Denver is getting paced up here by Milwaukee, just like the Suns did yesterday. Milwaukee's defense without Giannis was atrocious. So I'm looking at the guys who are going to shoot the ball. I'm looking at the guys who are going to hit threes, just like the Suns did yesterday. And Will Barton's one of those guys. Jamal Murray's one of those guys. I don't hate the idea of Gary Harris, even though he doesn't project well. He's just been dog shit this year. You can take a shot on Jokic. He's got ceiling. He just hasn't really been doing it. But obviously, depending on what happens during the game, if certain guys get into foul trouble or whatever, we know he can. It's just a matter of if he wants to. And then Paul Millsap, man, I don't really know what to say about Paul Millsap, right? It's a 3-game slate. You're going to want some, but I don't really know what to say about the guy. But this team's going to get paced up pretty good. I like Jamal Murray and Barton, but Murray, and maybe I'm wrong for comparing him to Ricky Rubio in this situation, but obviously we just saw Ricky Rubio triple-double last night and just looked unstoppable against this Milwaukee team. So it's a lot to consider. Like I said, you already know, as far as ownership goes, that Middleton and Bledsoe are going to be two of the highest owned plays. However, their usage rates without Giannis is just incredible. Does this game, it isn't a very tough spot in the schedule for Denver. So what do you do? Again, the more I think about it, the more I look at it, I do think that Toronto-Utah game is going to end up going pretty low owned. So not that Toronto's in the best of a situation. They're on a back-to-back also, but at least they're not in a 4-6. That kind of shit matters, right? So we got a lot of stuff to think about, nation. We got a lot to consider. Jim Campbell, what's up? What's up? Oh, Charles, did you win the WiseTake DraftKings game contest? Did you win? I'll check the Slack in a minute, bro. Juice says, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about the smoking thing. Yeah, I know. But it makes me, you know. Jim Campbell says, I almost quit for good, but I'm back. Well, we're glad you're back, man. Glad to see you. Envious One says, Dante putting in work. Absolutely. He's definitely been putting in work. I don't disagree with that at all. Definitely an option, for sure. I know I kind of overlooked him, didn't really mention him, but you're absolutely right. Jackoff Lord, Sear Sober mix right now. I don't even know. That might be on me, though. Barton and Grant should eat. I agree. Envious one says Barton and Grant should eat. I do agree. I don't disagree at all. On bigger slates, it's like playing that game with Millsap and Grant. It's just not worth it. But on a small slate like this, it could take you a long way if you get it right. So that could be a situation worth looking into. William Crudup was good. WiseTake was good. Will, good to see you. Guys, that's it for the show. We're pretty much done here, unless anyone's got something to say. But hit that like button before you guys leave. The likes go a long way. Like I said, they really, really help us out. We'll be doing the final look today. The show's going to start at 6 p.m. Eastern. Probably more like a 30, 45-minute game-by-game breakdown with myself and you guys. And then, of course, we'll bring Paulie on for whatever's left of the show and talk some game theory, actually get the teams built and all that stuff. But, Charles, I'll check you out in the Slack, bro. I know you're asking me to go in there and look. So I know some you must have been doing some good things. That's all I got to say about that. You must have been doing some good things. But anyway, that's going to do it. Oh, GQ Rock 007. You know I got to hook you up. Who's the better play tonight, Bridges or Washington? The way the recent trends look, it looks like Washington. But I almost never say that. Like, I think Bridges is a much better player. I think Bridges is way more active typically. Bridges is way more, has the ability to grab the usage. But if you look at the recent trends for the minutes, for some reason, Bridges' minutes have been down while PJ's has been up. So that's the one, but I'll almost never say Washington because I just can't stand that guy. I know it's messed up. I just can't stand it. If you're playing if you're playing cash games, follow the minutes. If you're playing tournaments, follow the ceiling. So Bridges. Even though Bridges' minutes have been down. I'll say Bridges because I think he's got the better ceiling. If he does do the best, he's going to give you the most upside. That's what I would say. See how. But anyway, that's going to do it, Nation. I'm going to get out of here. I'll catch y'all out. Yeah, Envious One says Washington has to be out there for Collins. Exactly. I think that both, like I said when I was covering the first game, I think this game's going to go real small. I think we're not going to see a lot of Zeller or Dedmon. We're going to see a lot of Collins versus PJ. Which Bridges should be on the court against Hunter, so that kind of fits the mold. But I think this game goes smaller, so I do think Washington does get a lot of minutes against Collins at the 5, assuming that both guys stay out of foul trouble. But we're gonna get out of here. Hit the like button. I'll catch y'all later for the final look, the Wise stream later on, and the projections and all that shit available at WiseTake.com. Y'all know that. Y'all know where to go. Hit the like button for myself, the entire WiseTake Nation. As always, good luck.